Freo start with a flurry. A huge win. Reid gets to work and powering away with a couple of bounces. Harley Reid on full show. Unbelievable! And they go at it again.
Yes, well, welcome to What's Ahead in the West, brought to you right here by Footy West. I'm Lucas, I will be your host for the year. And well, on What's Ahead in the West, we bring you the latest stories, the big headlines from the West, the Fremantle Dockers and the West Coast Eagles. So I hope you can tune in every Wednesday afternoon for this season. And we'll jump straight into things today. And we've got a few round one headlines here. So we'll take a look for the West Coast Eagles. They have 3 club debutants sort of making their way into the team for round one. You've got Liam Baker and Jack Graham coming across the country from Richmond, highly rated there by Minnie McQualter, and he played a big part in bringing them across. And then you've got Matt Owies as well, who had a career best season, really, at the Blues last year. So it's a good pickup for the Eagles there. And obviously, like I touched on, Andrew McQualter begins his senior coaching career at the West Coast Eagles. So that's going to be a fun watch for the Eagles fans. And we move over across the river, sort of, and we go to the Dockers, and they have got a few injuries starting to mount up for them going into this season. So that's probably a little bit of a concern for the Dockers. Most of them are not too long term. We'll have a little bit more of a look at that. And you've got Murphy Reid with all these injuries, probably in line to make his debut. Obviously, teams are out in just a couple of hours now, so we'll wait and see for that one. But we'll take a bigger look at the Dockers injury list, and I wouldn't say it's a concern as such. I would just say there's probably an awareness about the Dockers. So you've got Shea Bolton is a big one there. Some recent news coming out of there. I'm not sure how long, probably about 1 or 2 weeks. Nothing long term there for him. You've obviously got Nat Fyfe there, unconfirmed sort of when he's coming back with his knee. You've got Alex Pearce, Josh Draper. They're both tests. It looks like Alex Pearce will probably play round one for the Dockers. Hayden Young is a big loss for them. That is still, there's no timeline confirmed there for Hayden Young. Definitely round one. I reckon he'll probably start to put a case forward for round 2, round 3, but no timeline there still given by the Dockers. So that's a bit of a concern for them, but you'd expect all of those guys to be back within about round 5 at the latest there. Sean Darcy also with 3 to 5 weeks. So we look ahead to the Dockers round 1 clash against the Cats. Now, this is very interesting. Both sides, many have tipped for a top 4 appearance. And we'll look at the Dockers record at GMHBA Stadium. And they got thumped there, obviously, in 2018, a devastating 133-point loss. But since then, they've sort of fixed their ways at the Cattery, and they have one of the best records at GMHBA Stadium. They've obviously gone 2-0 since that big loss there, a 3-point win in 2022 and a 7-point win in 2023. So they've rectified those wrongs, and I reckon they'll put a good case forward to make it 3 straight at GMHBA since 2018. So that's something to be excited about for the Dockers there. Now we go back across to the West Coast Eagles now. And the list changes, they have made wholesale list changes. They have brought in 11 players and they've got rid of 10. So we'll take a look at the list there. Plenty of changes in the off-season for West Coast, and we'll get an extended look at that. So you've brought in Bo Allen, Liam Baker, Sandy Brock, Malachi Champion, Hamish Davis, Jack Graham, Luca Grego, Tom Gross, Matt Owies and Job Shanahan. So some quality there for the Eagles, and then you can see the outs over there, a few experienced players there, a few delistings for them. So it's an exciting time for the list transition for the Eagles. Andrew McQualter is shaping this club how he wants it to be shaped. The average age of the player that they have brought in is 21 years old. So they are getting younger and more inexperienced, but the youth is what Andrew McQualter is going for. It's a list turnover. They are building the next premiership list for their side. So with that average age of 21 on the ends, that's doing exactly that. And despite the age of the ins being 21, the average age being 21. You've got Liam Baker, Matt Owies, and Jack Graham, who are all 27 right now. So that sort of bumps up the average. So if you took them out, it would probably be even lower to about 20 or 19, because most of those guys obviously picked up in the drafts, the academy, the supplementary supply period, I think that's what it's called. Sandy Brock there, obviously. So they're going for youth here, West Coast. And so there's a few things there. We've got the list changes for the Eagles and the injuries mounting for the Dockers. They are some of the biggest stories going into the round. But we head to the big questions of the West for round one, an opening match for each of these sides going into this season. And we'll look at the Dockers' big question. And that's the question, well, can they show they're capable? Can they show they can get the job done in 2025? I believe they've got the list. A lot of people believe they have got the list to contend, to make it to the penultimate weekend, to make it to the last weekend in September. Can Justin Longmuir equip these guys with the skills to make it that far? I think they will. I reckon they'll make a grand final, maybe. Definitely should be making a prelim final, but that's the standards that should be set for Justin Longmuir. And we head across to the crosstown rivals here, the West Coast Eagles. Will Andrew McQualter's game style be on show? I think he's talked a lot about playing this fast and furious run and gun game style. Can he bring that to life? What pieces will work? What will have to be touched up on? It's certainly going to be a big test for him. So that will be the end of what's ahead in the West for the round one, the opening episode of the series. I'll get my tips in as well. We've got Freo by 4 points as my guess, and I've got West Coast by 10 points. But just going back to those big questions, obviously, can the Dockers get a win in opening round or their round one clash, rather, to cement their spot and sort of stamp authority on this side? Obviously, one game doesn't tell everything, doesn't tell the whole story. But in the last 10 seasons, the Dockers have won 4 out of their opening games, out of their 10 opening games. So it's sort of a flip of the coin, really, to win this game. I think they'll get it done. They've had a couple of close games now, up at GMHBA and at Optus Stadium as well. So I think it'll be another close one. So I'm going them by 4 points. And the West Coast Eagles, here's an interesting stat for you as well. All 6 of their full-time senior coaches have won their first game in charge. So that is something to note for Andrew McQualter, and I'm expecting him to continue with this trend and be able to run over the Gold Coast Suns by 10 points. But that is all I have for you on what's ahead in the West. I hope to see you again next Wednesday in the afternoon on Footy West for what's ahead in the West. I'm Lucas, I'm your host, and I'll see you again soon on what's ahead in the West.